Okay, so today we're diving into a career path that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, right? Laser marking machine operator. I mean, when I hear that, I'm picturing lasers etching intricate designs onto like spaceships or something.
Huh, well, the reality might not involve spaceships just yet, but it's really not that far off. We've got this stack of resources you sent us from RoleCatcher, and yeah, they paint a pretty fascinating picture of this whole high-tech career.
Yeah, and you sent these in because you're curious about what this actually entails day to day. What skills do you need? What are the pros and cons? Or like all the nitty gritty. So let's get our metaphorical lasers out and dissect this thing.
Love the analogy. So the first thing that really jumps out from these guides is how much they emphasize precision.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about just, be careful. We're talking laser-focused accuracy, pun intended.
Uh-huh. Nice. And they actually use the phrase cutting edge technology right alongside that word precision. I mean, how precise are we talking here?
Okay, so think of it this way. Imagine etching these crazy detailed designs onto something as tiny as a microchip or as delicate as one of those surgical instruments. That's the level these machines are capable of. But it takes a skilled operator to make it happen.
Wow. Okay. So that's where the creativity element comes in, right? It's not just about knowing which buttons to press. It's about like really understanding design.
100%. And the RoleCatcher guide actually dives into this artistic side, explaining how operators have to adjust the laser's focal length, pulse duration, all that, to create different depths, different details. I mean, think about those custom phone cases that everyone loves with the super intricate designs, kind of like that, but on a larger scale.
That's so cool. Okay, but let's get down to the actual work. What does a typical day look like for a laser marking machine operator?
Well, according to RoleCatcher, it's more than just hitting go and watching the laser do its thing, right? Like the setup alone, that's a whole process.
Really? Like what? Give me the behind the scenes.
Yeah. So you'd start by securing the workpiece, which is the piece of whatever you're engraving, onto the laser table, right? This table, it's like a super sturdy platform that makes sure absolutely nothing moves during the process.
Okay, yeah, no shaky hands allowed. Then what?
Then comes the precision part. You'd use something called a moving controller. Think like a high-tech joystick, right? To position the laser head over the workpiece. This gives you that super fine control over the laser's movement. Pretty complex stuff from what I gather. You need training, a feel for the technical details.
It's like one of those claw machines at the arcade, but instead of a stuffed animal, you're trying to grab the perfect laser placement. Ha ha! So where does the whole troubleshooting thing come in? Because the guide mentioned that's a big part of the job, too.
Oh yeah, for sure. So imagine you're mid-engraving and suddenly something goes wrong. Maybe the laser isn't firing right or the design is off. You need to be able to figure out what's up, adjust the settings, even do some minor repairs sometimes, all on the fly.
So it seems like being a laser marking machine operator takes this cool blend of technical know-how, creative problem solving, even a little bit of an artistic eye. But zooming out, what about the career itself? Like, what's the growth potential, the opportunities?
That's where things get interesting. It's not just the job you get stuck in. RoleCatcher actually highlights several paths for moving up.
Oh, yeah. Like what? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, for one, with experience, you can become a lead operator. You'd be overseeing a whole team of operators, making sure everything runs smoothly and the quality's top-notch. And from there, even a supervisory role, managing the whole laser marking operation. That's definitely a possibility.
So you go from etching the designs to basically like leading the whole team who's etching them. That's pretty cool. But what if someone wants to get into different areas, still within this field?
That's definitely doable. The skills you learn as an operator can translate to roles like laser engraving technician, even laser engineer. Those are out there. These are positions where you really dive deep into the technical stuff, like laser physics, advanced engineering, that kind of thing.
So almost like specializing even further within this world. That's awesome. But switching gears a bit here, we touched on RoleCatcher's AI tools earlier. How do those fit into the whole picture, especially for someone in this field?
That's huge, especially these days, because navigating the whole job market, even for a specialized thing like this, it's got to involve AI now. Those RoleCatcher tools, the resume builder, the interview prep, those can be game changers.
In what way? What do they actually do?
So their resume builder, it analyzes job descriptions and helps you tailor your resume to match the exact keywords and phrases that those applicant tracking systems, the ATS, are looking for. Think of it like a secret weapon to get your application noticed.
Oh, that's smart. And the interview prep, AI for that, how does that even work?
It's basically a virtual interview coach. You practice answering common interview questions, and the AI gives you feedback on how you're doing, how to improve. how to sound more confident. Pretty cool stuff.
Wow, personalized coaching without having to, like, schedule a meeting.
Ah,
Wild. Okay, but bigger picture again for a sec. The guide mentioned that laser engraving itself, it's going way beyond just those traditional industries now, right?
big time. We're talking consumer electronics, medical devices, you name it. It's not just about engraving some jewelry or industrial parts anymore.
So what's causing this? Why is it becoming so widespread?
I think it comes down to two things. Personalization and that crazy level of precision we talked about.
Yeah.
People want custom stuff now, right?
Yeah.
And laser marking, it makes those intricate designs, those personalized engravings, possible on a massive scale.
It's like taking that I got this made just for you thing to a whole new level with lasers. But what about like medical devices? What's the big deal there?
In those cases, it's less about aesthetics and more about function.
Yeah.
Like you can etch vital info, serial numbers, batch codes, even patient-specific stuff directly onto the device itself. Super important for traceability, for safety, even paves the way for more personalized medicine in the future.
That's insane. It's like this tech is going to change how we make, well, everything eventually.
It's heading that way for sure. And that kind of brings up a big question. What does this expansion mean for someone who's thinking, hey, maybe this laser marking machine operator thing is for me?
I mean, job security has got to be good, right?
Yeah.
And tons of opportunity as this stuff grows.
You got it. As more and more industries jump on this laser tech, the demand for skilled operators, it's only going to keep climbing. You're basically getting in on the ground floor of something huge, something that's going to be around for a long time.
So it's not just about learning a trade, it's learning a trade that's going to be in demand as tech gets even wilder. Pretty exciting.
Exactly. But, and this is key, this rapid evolution, it means you got to be learning constantly. Even if you've been doing this for years, staying on top of the latest laser tech and engraving techniques, that's vital.
It's like that saying, you snooze, you lose, but in the tech world.
100%. And RoleCatcher actually had some good tips in their guide, attending those industry webinars, workshops, joining the professional groups, online forums, all that helps you stay ahead of the curve.
So networking, but like the supercharged version. Okay. Last thing before we move on, we've talked a lot about the technical stuff, the problem solving, all that. But what about those like soft skills? Do those matter in this line of work too?
Absolutely. You can be a laser whiz, but if you can't communicate, work with a team, adapt to new situations, you're going to hit a wall. Don't forget you're working with people, with clients sometimes, and the tech itself, that's always evolving.
So it's about finding that balance, the tech skills and the people skills to really succeed long term.
Exactly. High tech, but with a human touch, that's where it's at. And that brings up another cool point. The versatility of this career path. The skills you build as a laser marking machine operator, those are surprisingly transferable, opens doors to stuff beyond just the typical manufacturing jobs.
Oh, like what? What other kind of jobs are we talking about?
Well, think about it. You could transition into a quality control role, right? Your eye for detail, your precision, those are super valuable there. Or maybe you move into a sales position or even training within the laser industry, leveraging that technical knowledge.
So it's like, yeah, you're operating a machine, but you're also developing this whole skill set that could take you in a ton of different directions. That's awesome.
Right. It's about the potential,
Yeah.
That's something for everyone listening to think about. How could this career, with all its technical and creative aspects, how could that set you up for a future that's full of possibilities?
That is a good question. We've covered so much ground here. The ins and outs of laser marking, the whole career path, even how to use AI to get hired. But I have to say, I'm feeling like this is just the tip of the iceberg, especially when you start talking about the future of manufacturing and all that.
Totally agree. We've really just scratched the surface here. The way things are made, it's changing drastically, and laser marking's right in the thick of it.
It's like we zoomed into this one tiny pixel, and now it's time to step back and see the whole picture, right?
Perfect analogy. And that's exactly what we're doing next. Get ready to dive into the world of Industry 4.0, see where laser technology fits into this whole new era of manufacturing. It's going to be a wild ride.
Okay, so we've talked about the skills, the tech, how to even land a job in this field, all that. But this whole time, I gotta be honest, I keep thinking bigger picture, Like, what does all this mean for the future? What's the big deal with laser marking in the grand scheme of things?
That is the million-dollar question. And to be honest, it goes way beyond just lasers. We got to talk about Industry 4.0. It's this whole revolution happening in manufacturing right now, and it's huge.
Industry 4.0, okay, that sounds kind of intense, like robots taking over the factory floor, sci-fi movie stuff.
Well, you're not wrong. But it's not really about robots replacing humans, like some kind of battle. It's more about integrating all this digital tech into every single step of the process. Imagine machines that can communicate with each other, share data, adjust themselves in real time to get those perfect results. Lasers, they're just one piece of that puzzle.
So instead of that old school mass production, just churning out the same thing over and over, it's more like these super smart factories making exactly what's needed, exactly when it's needed.
Exactly. Think like custom furniture. You design it online, it gets laser cut to your exact specs, and it's at your door in a few days. Or how about personalized medicine? Pills that are 3D printed with your specific dosage, maybe even with your name lasered on there, just to be super official.
Okay, yeah, now that is the future I'm into. But for someone who's actually considering this as a career, does it mean they got to become like a coding whiz on top of everything else we've talked about?
It's less about being a coding master and more about being adaptable. You know, if you're already drawn to this world of precision, this high-tech stuff that laser marking involves, you're already wired for this kind of future.
So instead of being afraid of like, oh no, the robots are coming for my job, this is more like a future-proof career because you're already on that path.
Exactly. You're not just learning how to operate a specific machine, you're learning the principles behind the technology. And that knowledge, that's what becomes super valuable as automation keeps growing.
That's a really good point. So for anyone listening who's thinking, okay, this sounds really cool and all, but is it really for me? What's that one big takeaway, that nugget of wisdom that we can leave them with today?
I'd say it's this. The future of how we make anything, it's becoming more digital, more precise, more personalized, all of it. And laser marking, it's a front row seat to that whole transformation. So if even a little part of you is excited by that, by where all this is headed, well, this career path could be your launch pad. Not just to the world of lasers, but into something much, much bigger.
I love that. It's not just a job, it's a chance to be part of something that's constantly pushing boundaries. This has been awesome. Thanks for diving into the world of laser marking with us. It's the perfect blend of precision meeting potential where the future really is being etched, quite literally, with light